You don't need a new year to begin. You need a new decision. I know some of you are watching this quietly, with big dreams you haven't said out loud, with doubts you carry like a secret weight. You're smiling on the outside, but inside you're asking, is there more for me? Yes. But before the world changes, you must let me walk with you, step by step, through 7 lessons I learned the hard way. Most people think they're waiting for confidence, but what they're really waiting for is permission. Permission to begin. Permission to be imperfect. Permission to take up space. I've learned this the hard way. Readiness is not something that arrives. It's something you walk into. If I had waited until I felt fully prepared, fully accepted, fully sure of myself, I would still be standing at the edge of my life, watching other people live theirs. There were moments when I stepped into rooms where everything felt unfamiliar. Different rules, different expectations, different voices deciding what belonged and what didn't. I didn't always understand the system. I didn't always sound like everyone else. I didn't always know if I would be chosen or dismissed. But I showed up anyway, because here's the truth no one tells you early enough. Growth does not ask if you are comfortable. It asks if you are willing. Willing to look foolish. Willing to learn publicly. Willing to try without guarantees. Readiness is a story. Fear tells you to keep you safe. But safety is often the enemy of becoming. Every time you say, I'll start when I'm more confident, what you're really saying is, I'm afraid of failing where people can see me. And that fear is human. It's real. But it cannot be the boss of your destiny. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the muscle you build after you move. You don't become brave and then act. You act, and bravery follows. I've met people with extraordinary talent who never began because they kept waiting for certainty. And I've met people with average talent who changed their lives simply because they started before they felt ready. The difference wasn't intelligence or luck, it was decision. Faith, real faith, is not loud, it's quiet. It's choosing motion when the outcome is unclear. It's waking up one morning and saying, I don't have all the answers, but I'm not staying stuck. It's trusting that clarity meets you on the road, not at the starting line. Every meaningful chapter of your life will begin with discomfort. If it feels familiar, you're probably not growing. If it feels shaky, uncertain, and a little terrifying, you're likely standing at the door of transformation. Stop asking, am I ready? Ask, am I willing? Willing to learn instead of prove. Willing to fall instead of freeze. Willing to be a beginner again. Because beginners are powerful. They are open, they are humble. They are not limited by how things should be done. They discover new ways because they don't know the old ones well enough to be trapped by them. The world rewards people who move, not perfectly, not confidently, but consistently. There will never be a moment when fear disappears completely. You don't outgrow fear, you outgrow obedience to it. And the moment you stop letting fear make your decisions, your life begins to expand. You don't need to have the whole plan. You just need the courage for the next step. Take it with shaking hands. Take it with doubt in your chest. Take it while your voice trembles. Because one day you'll look back and realize the moment you thought you weren't ready was the moment everything changed. And that is how becoming begins. Motivation will visit you when life is easy. Discipline is what stays when life is not. I learned early on that inspiration is unreliable. It shows up when it wants to. It disappears without warning. And if your life is built only on motivation, then your future is built on moods. Some days you'll feel powerful, some days you won't. And if you only show up on the powerful days, you will never outgrow the weaker ones. Discipline is different. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ask for applause. It's the decision you make when no one is watching you. not your family, not your friends, not the world. It's how you treat your commitments when there is no reward in sight yet. It's how you honor your word to yourself. Because every promise you keep to yourself builds trust. And every promise you break quietly teaches your mind not to believe you. We don't talk enough about that. The way you speak to yourself matters. The way you follow through matters even more. I've seen people wait for discipline to feel exciting. It never will. Discipline doesn't give you butterflies, it gives you backbone. It builds something far more valuable than comfort. It builds character, and character is what holds you steady when success finally arrives. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in motion. It's saying, I deserve consistency even when I don't feel like it. It's choosing structure over chaos. It's choosing long-term peace over short-term pleasure. Every habit you repeat is teaching your nervous system who's in charge. When you wake up and do the hard thing before the easy one, you are telling your mind, I lead here. When you stay committed on days you feel tired, invisible, or discouraged, you are strengthening a part of you that no one can take away. You don't need extreme routines. You need honest ones. Small actions done daily will outperform dramatic efforts done occasionally. Always. Discipline compounds, quietly, patiently, unstoppably. People often ask how success looks so effortless from the outside. What they don't see are the unglamorous days, the repetition, the restraint, the discipline that no one celebrated. They don't see the early mornings when quitting felt reasonable. They don't see the nights when comfort had to be delayed, but your future sees it. Your future is built in those moments. Discipline teaches you something sacred, that you can be trusted with more. When you manage your time, your energy, your body, and your focus with intention, life begins to meet you at a higher level. Opportunities grow where responsibility lives. And here's the part that matters most. Discipline gives you freedom. Freedom from regret, freedom from chaos, freedom from being controlled by impulses and emotions. When you are disciplined, you are not trapped. You are liberated. You are no longer negotiating with excuses. You are no longer at war with yourself. You move with clarity, with alignment, with peace. Some days discipline will feel boring. Some days it will feel heavy. Do it anyway, because one day you'll wake up and realize that what once felt hard has become who you are. And who you are has become strong. Strong enough to handle pressure. Strong enough to hold success without losing yourself. Strong enough to build a life you don't need to escape from. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your discipline. So choose carefully what you repeat. Choose carefully what you tolerate. Choose carefully how you treat your own potential. Because discipline is not about doing more. It's about becoming more. Quietly, daily, faithfully. There comes a moment in every life when staying the same starts to hurt more than changing. And yet, we still hesitate. Not because we don't want growth, but because the version of ourselves we know feels safe, familiar, predictable, even when it's limiting us. I've learned that comfort can be one of the most dangerous places to live. Not because it's bad, but because it slowly convinces you that this is all you are, that this is all you can be, that reaching for more would be ungrateful, risky, or unnecessary. But growth doesn't ask if you're comfortable. It asks if you're honest. Honest about what no longer fits. Honest about what you've outgrown. Honest about the dreams you keep postponing because they would require you to change. There is a quiet grief that comes with growth, the grief of leaving behind who you used to be. The routines that once felt right, the identities that once protected you, The relationships that made sense in an earlier chapter but cannot travel with you into the next one. And this is where many people turn back, not because the path ahead is wrong, but because the path behind is familiar. The old version of you will negotiate. It will whisper, just stay a little longer. It will remind you of past success, old comfort, old validation. It will convince you that staying small is safer than becoming visible. But familiarity is not destiny. You are allowed to evolve beyond what people recognize. You are allowed to disappoint expectations that were built on a version of you that no longer exists. Growth will ask you to release identities you once worked hard to build, and yes, that can be terrifying. Because when you change, you don't just lose habits, you lose mirrors. People who reflected back who you used to be may not recognize who you're becoming, and that can feel lonely. But loneliness is often the hallway between who you were and who you're meant to be. You don't have to burn bridges, but you do have to stop living on them. Some patterns will not survive your growth. Some excuses will not come with you. Some conversations will feel smaller, and some environments will feel tighter than they used to. That doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It means you're growing. Outgrowing yourself requires humility. The humility to admit that what got you here won't get you where you're going. It requires courage to let go of what once worked, so you can discover what works now. And it requires faith that you are not betraying your past, you are honoring it by continuing forward. Faith that your evolution is not a rejection of who you were, it is a continuation. The truth is, your future self is depending on the choices you make today. Every time you cling to what's familiar just because it's comfortable, you delay the life that's trying to meet you. Growth will stretch you. It will expose your edges. It will make you question yourself. But stagnation will suffocate you. And deep down, you know which pain is worth choosing. You don't have to explain your growth to everyone. Some people will understand later. Some never will. But clarity does not require consensus. The bravest thing you can do is become unfamiliar to yourself again. To say, I don't know exactly who I'm becoming, but I know I can't stay here. Let go gently. Move forward deliberately. Trust that discomfort is not a warning, it's a signal. Because the moment you outgrow the person you've been, you make space for the person you're meant to become. There is a version of pain that hardens you, and there is a version of pain that refines you. The difference is not what happened to you, it's what you choose to do with it. I have learned that life will test you in ways you did not prepare for. It will take things from you without explanation. It will break plans you prayed for. It will humble you in rooms where you thought you had finally arrived. And in those moments you have a choice. You can let pain make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. Pain is not a sign that you are weak. It is proof that you tried, that you cared, that you stepped into life fully. Avoiding pain does not make you strong, it makes you numb. Strength is built by staying present through discomfort and choosing meaning over resentment. Some of the deepest lessons I've learned did not come from success. They came from loss, from rejection, from moments where silence answered my prayers instead of miracles, and yet, those were the moments that shaped my character. Because pain has a strange way of stripping you down to what is essential. It removes illusions. It exposes ego. It clarifies what matters. When everything feels like it's falling apart, you finally see what cannot be taken from you. Your values, your faith, your ability to rise again. But here's where many people get stuck. They revisit their pain without transforming it. They relive it, rehearse it, carry it like an identity. And pain was never meant to be a home. It was meant to be a teacher. Your wounds are not your story. They are your qualification. The very things that hurt you are often the things that prepare you to help others. The heartbreak that humbled you, the failure that taught you humility, the disappointment that forced you to grow resilience. Purpose is often hidden inside pain, waiting for courage to uncover it. But purpose requires honesty. You must be willing to sit with your pain long enough to ask, what is this teaching me? Not, why did this happen to me? But, who am I becoming because of this? That shift changes everything. When you refine pain instead of resisting it, you begin to extract wisdom. You gain empathy where there was once anger. You gain depth where there was once fear. You gain strength that cannot be manufactured by success alone. Some of the strongest people you will ever meet are not the ones who had easy lives. They are the ones who faced hardship without letting it destroy their spirit. They learned how to bend without breaking, how to grieve without giving up, how to hope without guarantees. And there is something sacred about that kind of strength. Don't rush your healing. Don't compare your process to anyone else's timeline. Refinement takes time. Fire does not destroy gold. It reveals it. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Prepared to lead with compassion. Prepared to speak with authenticity. Prepared to stand steady when others crumble. One day you will look back at what once hurt you and realize it shaped your voice, your presence, your purpose. And you will understand that the pain you thought would end you was the very thing that introduced you to your power. So don't waste your pain. Don't let it harden you. Let it refine you, because the most powerful testimony is not perfection. It is perseverance with meaning. Then let me slow this down, because this lesson is about grounding, not rushing. Ambition is powerful. It can lift you out of places you once felt trapped. It can push you to dream beyond what you were shown. But ambition without gratitude is a hunger that never rests. No matter how much you achieve, it will always ask for more, louder, faster, and at the cost of your peace. I learned that gratitude is not the opposite of ambition. It is its anchor. Without gratitude, success becomes noisy. With gratitude, it becomes meaningful. There was a time when I thought the goal was arrival, that once I reached a certain place, a certain level, a certain title, I would finally feel settled. But life doesn't work that way. Every summit reveals another climb. And if you don't learn how to appreciate where you are, you will miss your life while chasing it. Gratitude slows you down enough to see the grace that carried you here. The mentors who opened doors, the setbacks that redirected you, the strength you didn't know you had until you needed it. None of it happened alone. Gratitude reminds you that while your work matters, so does humility. It keeps you from believing the illusion that success is a solo act, because it never is. There are hands you may never see, prayers you may never hear, and sacrifices you may never fully understand that helped pave your path. When you acknowledge that, something shifts. You stop striving from emptiness. You start building from abundance. Gratitude doesn't make you passive. It makes you present. It teaches you to celebrate progress without losing momentum. To say, I'm thankful for this step and I'm still committed to the next one. That balance is rare and it's powerful. I've seen people reach incredible heights and still feel hollow. They chased success so hard that they forgot why they wanted it in the first place. Gratitude protects you from that. It keeps your ambition clean. It reminds you that achievement without meaning is just noise. And here's the truth. Gratitude also sharpens responsibility. When you recognize how much you've been given, you feel called to give more in return. Not from guilt, from reverence, from understanding that your life is not just about personal wins, but about impact. Gratitude says, I've been blessed, now let me be useful. It grounds your ego. It steadies your spirit. It deepens your resilience. Because when challenges come, and they will, gratitude reminds you that you've survived before, that you are supported, that you are not starting from nothing. Even on the hardest days, there is something to acknowledge. Breath, strength, another chance to try again. Gratitude does not deny pain. It gives pain context. It allows joy and struggle to coexist. It keeps you from turning success into entitlement or hardship into victimhood. It keeps you balanced. Make it a practice. Not just when things go right, but especially when they don't. Thank the lesson, thank the delay, thank the growth you can't see yet. Because when gratitude becomes part of your discipline, your ambition matures. It becomes less frantic, more focused, more sustainable. You stop chasing applause. You start building legacy. And that kind of ambition, the kind rooted in gratitude, does not burn you out. It builds you up. Then let me tell you what truly changed the direction of my life. For a long time, like many people, I thought success was about reaching the top, about being seen, about being applauded, about finally proving to the world and sometimes to myself that I mattered. But somewhere along the way, life humbled me. It showed me that chasing recognition is exhausting and chasing purpose is energizing. One drains you, the other stains you. Service is where ambition finds its soul. When your life is only about you, every setback feels personal. Every delay feels unfair. Every obstacle feels like an attack. But the moment you connect your work to something bigger than your own validation, pressure changes into perspective. You stop asking, how does this make me look? And you start asking, who does this help? That question changes everything. I've learned that fulfillment does not come from being admired. It comes from being useful, from knowing that your effort, your voice, your presence made someone else's path a little lighter. Service doesn't always look grand. Most of the time it's quiet, unnoticed, uncelebrated. It's showing up when it would be easier to pull away. It's choosing integrity when no one is rewarding it. It's lifting someone else even when you're still climbing yourself. And the beautiful irony is this: the more you give, the more grounded you become. Service dissolves ego. It softens fear. It expands your sense of purpose. When you serve something greater than your own success, failure stops defining you. Because your worth is no longer tied to outcomes alone. It's tied to contribution. I've met people with everything the world promises: fame, money, status, and still they felt empty. And I've met people with far less who radiated peace. The difference was not circumstance. It was meaning. Service gives your life weight, not heaviness, depth. It teaches you that your story is not just about survival or achievement. It's about impact, about what you leave behind in people, not just what you accumulate for yourself. And here's something important. Service does not mean self-erasure. It does not mean shrinking. It does not mean saying yes to everything. True service begins with self-respect. You cannot pour from an empty spirit. You serve best when you are aligned, healthy, and whole. Serving something bigger than yourself is not about martyrdom. It's about stewardship, stewardship of your talent, your platform, your influence, whatever you've been given, education, resilience, creativity, leadership. It wasn't meant to stop with you. It was meant to flow through you. When you shift your focus from being impressive to being impactful, your work becomes cleaner. Your decisions become clearer. Your heart becomes steadier. You stop competing. You start contributing. And in that space, something powerful happens. Fulfillment finds you. Quietly, naturally, without force. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need more people chasing attention. It needs people willing to take responsibility. People who understand that their success is meaningful only when it creates space for others to rise to, serve with humility, lead with empathy, give without keeping score. That is where purpose lives. Then let me leave you with the most important truth of all, the one that ties everything together. Transformation does not need an announcement. It needs embo, diamond. So many people talk about who they are becoming. They post it, they promise it, they plan it. But real change moves quietly. It doesn't argue for attention. It lets results speak. I've learned that the strongest people don't explain themselves. They show up differently, they move differently, they choose differently. And over time, the world adjusts to who they've become. Becoming the proof means you stop negotiating with your potential. It means you let your habits introduce you before your words do. It means your discipline speaks when your motivation is tired. It means your character shows up even when no one is clapping. There is something incredibly powerful about consistency without performance, about growth without noise, about healing without spectacle. Before 2026 arrives, don't focus on reinventing your image. Focus on reinforcing your foundation. Work on the things that don't trend, the things that don't get instant validation. Your mindset, your integrity, your emotional strength, your spiritual grounding. These are the things that carry you when life tests you. And life will test you. Becoming the proof means choosing the long road when shortcuts are available. It means doing what's right, even when what's easy is tempting. It means holding yourself to a standard, even when no one else is watching. And let me be honest with you, this path can feel lonely. When you stop performing for approval, some people will lose interest. When you stop explaining yours, some people will misunderstand you. When you start moving with intention, some people will project their insecurities onto you. Let them. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be aligned with yourself. Becoming the proof means trusting that consistency builds credibility. That quiet discipline builds undeniable confidence. That time reveals truth faster than arguments ever could. One day, someone will look at you and say, "You've changed." And you won't need to defend it, because you'll know you've grown, you will respond differently, you will tolerate less, you will move with clarity instead of chaos. And the most beautiful part, you won't need permission, because when you do the inner work, the outer world follows. When you strengthen your spirit, your presence shifts. When you respect yourself, life responds. Before 2026 arrives, don't ask for signs. Become one. Let your peace be visible. Let your discipline be consistent. Let your values be unshakable. And remember this, you are not late. You are not behind. You are not missing your moment. You are being shaped. Work on yourself quietly. Trust the process deeply. Serve something greater faithfully. And when the time comes, you won't need to prove who you are. You'll simply stand there, and your life will speak for you. That is the work, that is the calling, and that is how you step into the future, ready, rooted, and unafraid. Before you leave this moment, remember this truth. Your life is not an accident. Your struggles were not random, and your becoming is not late. There is a hand greater than fear guiding your steps, even when you cannot see the path. Every delay has meaning. Every closed door has protection in it. Every challenge has been shaping your strength in ways comfort never could. Do the work anyway, pray anyway, show up anyway. Because faith is not about having proof. It is about trusting the process when the proof hasn't arrived yet. You were not created to shrink, rush, or compare. You were created to grow, serve, and stand firm. So walk forward with humility, work with discipline, love with courage, And trust that what is meant for you will meet you when you are ready to carry it. And when doubt whispers, remember this: what is guided by faith cannot be stopped by fear. Now go. Live with intention. Become the person your future is waiting for.